Hey guys, welcome back. This is Camryn Conner with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. Today, for this episode, I'll be going over football. That's going over the SEC teleconference on Wednesday that happened, with updates from Coach Kelly on Jayden Daniels and his progress. Also, Coach Kelly's thoughts on this Saturday's game against the Florida Gators, as well as Florida's head coach Billy Napier's thoughts. And then I'll be talking about basketball. I'll be sitting down with Jeff Palermo, the news and sports director for Louisiana Radio Network, and the voice of the Lady Tigers, Patrick Wright. I'll be going over baseball and exciting news that they have coming up this weekend, and then I'll be wrapping up the episode with the cute bow, going over all of the signees LSU has had coming in this past week. But first, I would like to thank our sponsor, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267.
Hey neighbors, we're not that far from where you are. Make that short drive to Pawpaw's Campers in Picayune and see our Wildwood, Catalina, Sportsman, and Zinger trailer lines and our Rockwood and Heritage Glen fifth wheel lines. From Houma to Hammond, Biloxi to Jackson, and Mobile and Pensacola, we're not that far from where you are. Come and see us.
You're gonna love the way we deal. Pawpaw's Camper City and Picayune. You're gonna love the way we deal.
Welcome back. Let's just get into it. I'm sure many of you guys are wondering what the status is on the LSU quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Y'all saw him take a huge hit last week against Alabama, which took him out at the fourth quarter for the rest of the game. Since then, Coach Kelly's been very selective on what information he's really telling the fans or anybody who asks. In a teleconference on Wednesday, Coach Kelly was asked about what Daniels is looking like, what the progress update on Daniels is, and how Daniels is looking regarding the Florida game coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, he worked out this morning, and it appears as though that workout went well, which is the last stage before he's cleared for non-contact practice. So we're expecting him to practice today. If all things go well through practice today, then he'll be cleared for contact on Thursday.
Along with questions about Jayden Daniels' status, there's a lot of questions that we're having about the LSU defense and what they're going to be looking like this weekend coming up against Florida, especially seeing LSU's defense last weekend against Alabama. Wondering what Coach Kelly is going to be doing differently this week in practice for the defense and what they're going to be tweaking to help the defense be prepared to come in this Saturday confident and get a Tiger win.
Well, I think it's, if you look at it, a lot of the big plays were the quarterback running. Certainly, we're playing a different quarterback. So each week, there's a different challenge. For us, this is going to be eliminating big plays, tackling better, leveraging the football. The ball got outside our defense on a couple of occasions. So, I would say the fundamentals of defense need to continue to grow and continue to get better and play with great energy and enthusiasm and play like an LSU defense that is fighting for four quarters.
And luckily for LSU, Florida's defense has had a bit of a struggle this season, specifically the past game or so. There's a lot of younger people coming in on their defense, kind of sort of mirroring LSU's defense. Injuries happen, putting the younger players on the field. So I would say this puts LSU's offense on a good spot. Billy Napier, the head coach for the Florida Gators, touches on this in his own teleconference.
Yeah, I think that for this group in particular, they arrived in January for the most part. I think Dede and Trey were maybe the only two that are playing that weren't mid-year enrollees, right? So they came here with the intent of being competitive, and many of these guys have earned playing time. And it is what it is. I think it's part of building the program. I think got to go through some of the growing pains now, but I do think it'll be beneficial. It's been beneficial already throughout the season, right? As we see some of these guys get more and more comfortable. We did have a handful of rookies last week that probably played more snaps than they've been playing due to some of the injuries. But I do think experience is critical. Developing a veteran team, having some young talent, that can contribute. Ultimately, those guys not only have experience down the road, but they prove to be effective leaders as well. So, our team is made up of some vets and some guys kind of in the middle, and then we do have quite a few rookies playing in particular on defense.
And so I guess my main question for this Saturday will be, how is a defense like the Florida Gators, coming from where they were last week against Arkansas and seeing how they performed against that, and wondering almost how are they going to be prepared to play an offense as good as LSU? How are they going to practice to get prepared for two different quarterbacks? Whether or not Daniels is in the game, that's unclear for right now. So they're practicing for Daniels. They're practicing to play against Nussmeier. I'm wondering how Florida's defense will be sitting for the game coming up this Saturday in Death Valley, and how they're going to prepare for, like I said, two different quarterbacks and two different quarterback styles as a whole.
Yeah, no, I think it's part of the challenge this week, with the uncertainty around their quarterback situation. So, both of these players have experience. They've both done a nice job of moving the offense. I think Nussmeier, because of kind of the flow of the last couple of years, has had an opportunity to play significant snaps and really play at some meaningful times, so they're both do a good job of making decisions, distributing the ball. Obviously, I think Jayden's played as good as any player in the country so far this year and had some really impressive performances. Jayden's ability to run, I think is the great equalizer. I know I mentioned that earlier, but Nussmeier is he knows the system. He's accumulated reps in the system, and they just have fantastic front and skill players around him. So either way, there's a great challenge here, and one that's going to require us to be at our absolute best.
And up next, I'm going to be talking about basketball. Ladies first, of course. The LSU Women's Basketball team is set to be getting their national championship rings tonight at their game against Queen's University in Charlotte at 7 p.m. inside the PMAC. And in regards to how their season's looking and what they're looking at this coming up weekend with all their games stacked, and then what they looked at Monday while they played against Colorado and unfortunately lost a 92-78 game, I sit down with Jeff Palermo, the News and Sports Director of Louisiana Radio Network, and Patrick Wright, who is the voice of the Lady Tigers, to discuss how the season is looking.
Jeff Palermo along with Camryn Conner, who has joined us in the studio from Tiger Rag, and the voice of the Lady Tigers, Patrick Wright, also with us to break down what happened last night in Las Vegas. And I guess that's the first question here, Patrick. What happened? What resulted in this 14-point loss? You look at one stat line. Colorado shot 53% from the field, LSU 44%. Does that kind of really tell the whole story of the game?
Not as much. I think Colorado looked like an efficient team that has played together, which is the case. They were a Sweet 16 squad from last year that brings 90% of their entire production, points, rebounds back, and they looked like the more polished squad last night. I think what it shows, and Coach Mulkey was not surprised, I don't think. I think there were a few things that probably surprised her in an unfortunate way. But Colorado is a much more polished team right now, and it shows that the group that LSU has got, the talent is obviously there, and when it's just going to take a little time to get all of it into one cohesive unit. There were a lot of defensive breakdowns, which are a little uncharacteristic of what this team will be. That's what Coach said during the exhibition season. What worried her the most was how her squad was going to defend, and it broke out in several different places. They were pretty well in control until about midway through the second quarter, and then Colorado's point guard Sherrod scored 12 points on drives and penetration and hit some shots, got to the free throw line, and then their big post player, kid who's a preseason all Pac-12, we couldn't seem to guard her. She found herself wide open under the basket for a lot of layups on the night. And then in the second half, Foreman, their 3-point shooter, ends up with 7 for the game. So it seemed like every time they kind of plugged one leak, a couple of others sprang up on defense. I think that was what was the biggest part. And the offense it's going to take it a little while before it looks cohesive. And I will point back to last year when, Alexis Morris was learning the point guard position, and it looked a little uneven for a while, but it's going to get there. And even though it was not a pretty thing to watch, I'm not real bothered by the long-term prospects. This is just going to take a little time, which I don't think should shock anybody. But, knowing how fans and media and Twitter can be, they think, it's the end of the world. But no, it's not. It's just I think the coaches are going to really have some good things to on film that they can teach from, and this team will get better.
Yeah, so Patrick, what do you think is going to be Coach Mulkey's next move coming into the game this Thursday, and how she's going to kind of reform the team into after what she saw Monday night and kind of put the rest of the season ahead? How do you think she's going to rearrange the team and how they're playing?
Well, I don't necessarily think there'll be a rearrangement lineup-wise necessarily, but I think she said all along the team is going to score their points. Her emphasis is going to be defense. They're going to. I mean, they were up, until we landed last night watching film. The coaches were up in the front of the airplane, and they're going to figure out. So we got a little string of games coming. We got a game Thursday, got a game Sunday, got another game Tuesday. So we got 3 at home coming. But the opponents are not going to be the caliber that Colorado was. But every defensive mistake, I think, is going to be addressed, and that's going to be her priority. She's going to want them playing good defense, and then the offense will come later. To me, when you've got players who are so wide open, those are fixable things because it means your assignments were busted, or it means you were just not in the right place at the right time. It wasn't a talent issue, not at all. So I think getting people in the right place, putting them where they're supposed to be. Otherwise, I don't think there's going to be a big overhaul. Just work on getting together, playing together, and helping. That there was quite a few times when their help should have been places last night where it wasn't. And again, things that new teams learn as they go along.
Yeah, I was kind of not shocked to see Angel Reese being guarded as much as she was, but more so just kind of how she was rearranging even her own game that she's been practicing all summer and all off season, to how she's going to rearrange it to kind of surprise the opponents, because she can't just be doing the same thing she did last season. So I didn't know if there's going to be a whole different way, and even how they're going to be looking at how she's being defended against now.
Well, and that's going to be the thing, is every time she looked up there, it seemed like there were 3 people around her. And what Colorado was really good at was when she did pass it out, somebody was out. They recovered well on defense when you figure that when somebody's got 2 or 3 players, that one of your players is open somewhere. And when Angel found that person, Colorado quickly had somebody out there to guard them. So, but the dynamic I think that's going to involve the most work on offense is how will Angel and Van Lith and Morrow and Flau'jae Johnson and then now Michaela Williams, how are they all going to fit together? Like, what is the offense going to look like? Angel, a lot of her game was, get the offensive rebound, put it back. I don't think there's going to be as much of that this year because everybody's going to kind of be keyed up for it. So, again, the offensive identity, I think, is the thing that the coaches are still trying to figure out. It's like, where are we going to put her? Are we going to post her up? Or are we going to let her play outside? And those are questions I think will get answered as we go along, and they'll figure it out. And that's where I feel most confident is we have a group of coaches who are really good at putting puzzles together, and this is a good one to have.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Patrick. It's never good to lose, but is this a good loss for LSU? Did they need this, or is it even too harsh to say, hey, this is a bit of a wake up call? Now the target's on your back. You got to be prepared, ready to go every game.
Well, and I don't think it was as much as LSU wasn't ready, or by all accounts they've been practicing hard. They're coaches had good things to say. They've been attentive. They want to learn. It's just the process is just going to take a little bit longer. I mean, I don't think they overlooked Colorado. I don't think any of that was taking place. I think Colorado was just a very good team that played very well last night. And I think what it did, though, is it did expose some things that LSU definitely needs to work on moving forward. the schedule now is, I think we've got 5 games before the next Power 5 school will play Virginia down in the Cayman Islands, who's a pretty good squad. But LSU's got 5 games to basically kind of work on some of those things that plagued them last night, and then they'll get to kind of retest it again, because after Virginia, we got Virginia Tech at home. So not necessarily wake-up call, but I think more of just okay, here's where we are deficient, here's what we really need to work on the most. Because I think after game 1, regardless of who the opponent was last night, you got a lot of things you got to work on. I think the opponent helped really red flag all of those things and made them pretty obvious last night.
Patrick, thanks a lot. You get your ring on Thursday, right?
Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's even they can't take it away from us no matter what happened last night.
You're right about that. Thanks a lot, Patrick. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you as the season moves along.
All right, sure thing, guys.
All right, thank you, Patrick and Jeff, for sitting down and talking with me. And like Patrick said, the Lady Tigers will be on the court tonight at 7 p.m., then again Sunday, November 12th at 2 p.m., and then next Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. And on to the men's. The men's are going to be set for courtside this Friday, November 10th at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss either of these two teams playing. A lot of great stuff coming up for them this coming up season. And to wrap up this podcast, I want to go over all of the signees that have come into LSU this past week. Before I dig too deep into it, I want to congratulate everybody who signed into LSU. Let's just get started with basketball. Ladies first. Coach Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers have landed Jada Richard on Wednesday. Richard is the top high school prospect from Louisiana. This was an amazing way to kick off the Lady Tigers signing period. Richard is a 5'6" guard and has won 3 straight state championships across 3 divisions. Richard is, like I said, from Louisiana. She's the top player out of Louisiana and a 4-star top 100 prospect by ESPNW. Going into men's, the men's had an exciting week. Curtis Givens III is a 4-star point guard recruit. Givens is ranked number 33 by On3 nationally and a number 4 among point guards, while ESPN's recruiting rankings has Givens III ranked at number 48. LSU men's basketball also had Robert Miller III come in. Miller is a 4-star forward recruit. He is ranked number 40 by On3 and number 49 nationally by 247 Sports, and the number 2 recruit in the whole state of Texas. In the world of baseball, we have Dean Moss, who is ranked number 4 in the country overall. He has flipped from Vanderbilt to LSU, so now Jay Johnson has secured 8 top 100 prospects in the 2025 cycle, including a pair of top 5 recruits, Quentin Young, who's number 2 overall, and Dean Moss, who is number 4 overall. The LSU gymnastics program has had a busy week as well. They've officially announced the addition of 4 new members to their team for the class of 2024. Zoe Miller, who's an all-arounder out of Spring, Texas. Miller is rated a 4-star recruit by College Gym News and a 5-star according to the collegegymfans.com. A 3-time national team member and an international competitor, Miller owns a combined 9 medals throughout her individual career at the senior elite level and with Team USA. The gymnastics team also has gotten Kaylin Keough. Keough is a 5-star recruit out of Las Vegas, Nevada. As a former national team member and the vault and bars champion at the 2023 Women's Development Program National Championships, this year Keough has competed as a level 10 gymnast and owns a first-place finish in the all-around in the Nastia Lukin Cup and owns multiple perfect scores on vault in 2023. Kayla Lincoln, who is a native of the Bay Area, has also signed in for the LSU gymnastics team. Lincoln has seen success at the national and international levels as a 4-time member of Team USA. She is the 2023 U.S. Floor Exercise Silver Medalist, Winter Cup Floor Exercise Champion, and Pan American Games Team and Floor Exercise Champion. Lastly, for LSU Gymnastics, we're having Lexi Zeiss. Lexi Zeiss is a 2-time U.S. national team member and 2022 world champion. She's a top-rated recruit out of Omaha, Nebraska. She is ranked 4 stars by College Gym News and 5 stars by collegegymfans.com. Okay. And then jumping into volleyball, our head coach, Tanya Johnson, has announced the signing of 4 new Tigers to the LSU volleyball team on 2023 signing day. The class features middle blocker Jessica Jones, defensive specialist Allie Kirchhoff, and outside hitters Lane Piles and Brianna Watson. LSU softball head coach Beth Torriano announced the signing of 6 student athletes: Zoe Calvez, Alex Franklin, Destiny Harris, Jayden Heavener, Samaya Jones, and Jada Phillips. And lastly, I'm going to go over golf. Ladies first, the LSU women's golf head coach Garrett Runnan announced that his team will have 3 new faces joining the team. Signing with LSU was Rocio Tejedo, Josephine Weidel, and Samantha Olsen. The men's golf team has signed 4 new golfers. That's Jack Buchanan, Dylan Kane, Niall Savenberg, and Connor Cassino. All right, that takes all the signees. Like I said, congratulations to everybody who has signed in for LSU. I wish you all the luck. I can't wait to see what you guys accomplish with y'all's time at LSU wearing purple and gold.
People come from everywhere to Pawpaw's Campers and Cars.
All at Pawpaw's Campers and Cities, somewhere. Pawpaw's Campers and Cars of people.
And we're going to let it go for I forgot.
Take the whole family over to Picayune. We got something for you. All right. What else we going to say?
PawpawsNicePrice.com.
That's probably all we need to say.
All right, well, that finishes episode 32 for the day. I'd like to thank the News and Sports Director for Louisiana Radio Network, Jeff Palermo, and the voice of the Lady Tigers, Patrick Wright, for taking their time and sitting down with me to talk about the women's basketball season. I hope you all have a good rest of y'all's days, and I'll be back later this week with more. I would like to thank our sponsor, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267.